Bow! Bow!
I swear like half of my videos start in this exact same spot. Hi, hello YouTube. I think that most of this video is just gonna be me working because I think my teachers are plotting against me and they put everything due on the same day. So I just have to work on some stuff. I finished the other one last night because that's more writing, and I know no one is gonna want to listen to me talk about writing stuff. So I really just have a little bit of a drawing assignment left, and I just got an extension for like one day because he gave an extension to the whole class. So I have a little bit of extra time to work on that assignment. So I'm gonna try to cut to just me finishing up the work. I will talk to you guys later.
Say that again?
Voiceover for this part of the video, and you guys can probably tell I'm recording this late. I think I'm just gonna voice over this for most of the video just because it's something to look at besides the art. Yeah, this assignment was pretty simple. I think that I overcomplicated it a little bit because it's supposed to just be a street scene with a 3-point perspective. So like 2 points here and then one either below or above. It's just supposed to be like any ordinary street, and I decided to get inspiration from a very complicated looking scene in The Last of Us. So that's kind of on me. I still got it done on time. I'm recording this a little bit after, but yeah, I just overcomplicated it a little bit too much. But I think that it turned out all right, to be honest. I really just liked the thematic part, and I really wanted this piece to kind of just be a little bit more unique instead of just some like basic street. So tried to just add a little bit of extra character to it, a bunch of random greenery, vines, random shady broken mirrors, stuff like that. And the only real issue that I had with making this piece was something called a tangent, which is when lines are like really close, like super close, and it's kind of just like a natural thing for people to look at it and be like, oh my gosh, that's really annoying. Why are the lines so close? They're not touching, but they're just like sitting right beside each other. And since there's so much like little details and stuff, especially with like kind of geometrical buildings, it was really hard to not have like an insane amount of tangents. And I know I'm definitely gonna lose marks for that, but I tried my best. There's only really so much you can do with tangents without completely changing your landscape when you're trying to make a piece with a bunch of tiny details. I did have fun making this piece. I think that it was just kind of new in a sense that I haven't really done 3-point perspective before, but it isn't that complicated. At least for this piece, it probably could have been better if I actually figured out how to do it properly. But I think with the scene, it still works like all right. It doesn't look too wonky. I don't know how my teacher's gonna think about that, and I did talk about it last video when I was finishing this up for a little bit, where my inspiration came from the DeLorean, which is like 80s car, I think. It's the 80s, right? That and like a little bit of Lightning McQueen. Like I think the more that I look at it, the more it looks like Lightning McQueen, which I don't really know what he is. I've seen that he's like a BRZ. Love all those movies, by the way, especially the second one. Second one is super funny, but I think that I pulled a little bit of inspiration just from that as well. And then just the idea of like having a dystopian kind of after the end of the world kind of setting, because I realized like a little bit too late that I have to include people for scale just so like you can see how big the buildings and stuff are. So I just like kind of plopped 2 random dudes right in the front. But it was a fight night before I recorded this. Peter Yan, bro, he's got it, bro. I don't know how able to be so consistent with his boxing and like just so sharp. Like it's actually insane. I feel like every fight that I see him, he's just like, he's piecing. Bro, he's just insane on the feet. And some of the other fights, RDR versus Whitaker, I feel like so many people are gonna say that that's a robbery, but I feel like it was just a extremely close match. And really for me, I think it could have swung like either way, but I'm not really mad that RDR won because I really want to see him versus Dricus because I think it would be just a funny fight. He's pretty good too. I hope that Rob comes back and gets a win, because if he retires soon after Poirier just retired too, like I might just be depressed. I don't know if I'm gonna want to watch UFC after that. Also looking at WWE. Now I'm just talking about my interest now. SummerSlam is coming up, which is the first SummerSlam that I'm like watching. I'm rewatching SummerSlam right now. It's probably all the flashing that's going on this side of my face. This year it's 2 nights, which is like WrestleMania, where it's Saturday and Sunday. It's a lot of stuff to watch, but all the matchups are so good. And the more that I get into WWE, the more invested I am in the stories. It literally feels like a soap opera, but instead of having huge arguments, they just wrestle each other. So it's very entertaining. You just have to remember to not take it too seriously. A lot of it is very gimmicky sometimes, but I think that's part of the charm of it anyway. There's a lot of animes that I'm trying to finish. There's like 3 that I'm watching right now, but they come out like weekly, so I'm just waiting for everything to come out. So Dandadan Sakamoto Days, and I'm gonna butcher this name, Gachiakuta.
ガチアクタ
Those 3, they're all pretty entertaining. It's just when you're following a bunch of different stories that you kind of get lost and kind of forget what the plot is. I genuinely can name like 2 characters off of Sakamoto Days and that's it. But since I'm like obviously in the animation program, you guys can probably see, but the stuff that's on the screen, I kind of get to watch it not just for the enjoyment of the show, but just to kind of see what certain studios do with like their style and like how they take on certain like choreography with fights, because all those have fights in it. So I count anime as entertainment slash studying. Definitely not a excuse to not actually study, but there's definitely a thing or two you can learn about just watching anything related to your field. It's kind of like with sports, like if you watch your favorite player playing basketball and you want to eventually make it into the league, obviously you're going to want to watch the professionals do it. So it's kind of the same thing, except what I'm learning in school is a little bit different. It's very like Looney Tunes, like older Disney, just like very traditional animation, versus anime. It's like a lot of just keep posing, a lot of like flashy stuff and flair, a lot of action sequences. There's a few differences in anime versus normal animation, but you can kind of learn that just from watching different shows over time. So I kind of went completely off track. I don't remember where I was going with this, but yeah, I think that you can really just pick up stuff that you like and kind of just make it your own a little bit, just like pull a little bit of inspiration from everything that you see and just kind of do something original whenever you want to make your own work. I did want to try and add some details as well, just like little like cracks in the floor or like little shards of glass. Hopefully that will boost my mark somehow. Just anything to pass this class. I do not want to be behind. Anyway, this is what it looked like once I ended up finishing the assignment. I think it turned out all right. And this is probably going to be most of the video, so I will talk to you guys later.
We ain't gotta listen to you.
I mean, you for real don't.
Uh-oh. Snake. What the? I'm just gonna leave you right there, man. And my path got cut off.
This is pretty much going to be the ending of the video. I know I didn't really do anything, but you can blame that on my teachers. I spent basically my whole week just doing my assignments. But if you don't already know how this part of the video goes, I usually just ask myself a few questions. So feel free to ask yourself these questions too. My first one for this video is, what was something selfish that you did? First, I want to say that I think that everything is like a little bit selfish, like just inherently, because you want to be thinking about yourself. You don't want to just live your life for other people all the time. You have to think about yourself. But something that I did in the past was just really not think about other people's feelings, even though like they weren't there and it really didn't affect them in the moment. Later on down the line, it can affect how they see you or how much they trust you with stuff. And that's just something that I know to just be very cautious of, is just anything that you do can affect people close to you. And this isn't really an example, but just Hulk Hogan, he just died. A lot of people really don't like him, and a lot of people love him for what he did for wrestling. So him passing away, it's still a big thing. If you loved him or hate him, like, you're gonna have an effect on people no matter what you do in life, if they know or care about you. Obviously, I think that it's important to kind of know the line between watching out for yourself and being too selfish. My next question is, what is the most important part of growth? So I think just growing as a person, or just maybe growing in a relationship with someone, it's important to know that it just takes time and not everything can be just instantaneous. So I think it's important to remember to just be very patient. And I think that that's something I also have to do sometimes, is just be a little bit more patient. And the world keeps spinning. Time is just gonna keep going. So eventually you'll get to where you wanna be. If you just give it a certain amount of time, I think that everyone can kind of grow and be who they wanna be if they really just put their mind to it and be patient. And last question for this video, I know I'm running through them really quick, but my last question is, have you ever experienced something perfect? I'd say that the weather right now is pretty perfect. I don't think that anything can really just be 100% perfect. I think that Everyone will always be able to find a little flaw in anything, like absolutely anything. They'll be able to find that little detail that seems a bit off. They'll be able to just look at the cracks in the armor and find something that isn't perfect. But I think that judging everything and expecting it to be perfect is kind of just setting yourself up for failure, because usually stuff isn't like ready to go right when you show up. Like, not everyone will be the perfect athlete, the perfect singer. Anything you do, again, it does kind of take time to grow. And I think that obviously if you know something's not going to be perfect, then it is kind of wrong to just judge it and expect it to be perfection. I also think it's just important to be able to find perfection in the little things. Like, maybe, you know, the ride to work was perfect. You know, you had no red lights, there was no accidents on the way. It was perfect. It was the perfect ride. You can't really ask for anything more. So I think it's just very important to appreciate just small perfections and not get mad at the huge imperfections, because those are the ones that are just easier to see right away. That's pretty much the end of the video. Thank you so much if you made it this far, and remember to stay hydrated.